What's up, vapors? Thanks for checking out Spin Fuel's Daily Vape TV. My name is Nick, and today we're going to be taking a look at the Kennedy 24mm atomizer. So real quick, before I get into the review, I do want to give a huge shout out to Adam Webster, aka the Vaping Nerd on Instagram. He's the one that got me this beautiful piece of hardware right here, and I just wanted to give him a huge shout out, so thank you very much, Adam. I also want to give a shout out to Steve Kennedy, the man himself, and Nick Kennedy, his son, for making such beautiful products. Their Instagram names are The Machinist 12 and I Make Things. I'll have all those in the description below if you want to check those guys out and give them a follow. So without further ado, let's get right down into the review. These beautiful pieces of hardware are going to be made to the original Kennedy standard out of beryllium copper, naval brass, and 303 stainless steel. They're going to cost around $105 on the website. So as of right now, I can see that the stainless and brass option are available, but the copper is still not available. However, it should be coming very, very soon. I know they're working extremely diligently to get those copper ones out to you guys. So some of the newer upgraded features on this 24 is it is a Kennedy design, original Kennedy design, of course. Closed deck, bottom airflow, 24mm outer diameter, larger build deck, larger air chamber, larger juice well, no leaking in hybrids, which is one of the main things that I like about this thing that I was complaining about in my previous version review, if you watched that one. And it also fits most box mods nice and flush, which is pretty sweet. So this is like a really unique upgraded design. I love the side airflow now. It does not come straight out the bottom, and it doesn't leave a residue all over hybrid mods like the other version used to. Doesn't leak at all. I've had zero leaking issues. This thing is absolutely great. As you can see, I have it on this Tugboat V2, the splatter version of it. And this is not standard, obviously. I've had to purchase this cap and this drip tip separate. This is a Half Moon Mods drip tip as well. But these caps are not available to the best of my knowledge yet. They will be coming soon. One of the coolest things about this mod and this atomizer is that they use the same Cerakoting shop, which they're actually right down the street from each other, which is kind of ironic. So they're going to have a very, very similar look to the Tugboat V2s. And I've seen Steve Kennedy with his own Tugboat V2 with a dark blue splatter, and a few others. I know Alan from Holy Cow E-Liquid has a green zombie splatter with red blood splatter on it. That looks pretty sweet as well. So yeah, let's just take a look real quick with the stainless cap on it. This is the original cap here, which I'll show you more of this in the close-up view as well. But that is what the standard cap looks like. It also has a comp size drip tip as well. So just basically everything about this is just beefed up. Bigger, better, badder, awesome. So I actually got the opportunity to record Steve Kennedy doing a live demonstration at ECC of how this thing is actually 100% leak proof, which is pretty cool. So I'm going to let Steve take it away from here, and I'll show you that footage right now.
Alright, I'm here with Steve Kennedy. I'm doing a test real quick, filling up the entire well of the new Kennedy 24 to prove that it is completely leak proof. You can see that the juice well is completely full of juice. I'm going to put the top cap back on, lay it down.
How much is the
Completely dry.
red splatter?
Nothing in the juice wells.
Alright, so that was pretty informative. I think you'll agree with that. Let's go right down into the close-up view and get a better look at this thing, and then we'll get to some pros and cons. Alright guys, so here she is in all her glory. The Kennedy 24mm atomizer. As you can see, the nice subtle Kennedy engravings on the front there. This is the comp size drip tip. So it's the same one as the Kennedy comp. And it's just flush fit right there. Little friction fit tip. And it's definitely tight in there, really no wobble to it, no complaints there. Actually, when I first got the Kennedy comp, I didn't know that the drip tip actually came out, so I left it in there for the longest time. So there's the air hole, the side airflow now, and that is dual as well. The only thing that worries me about this is there's absolutely no way to control that airflow. There's no adjustment or anything like that, so you get what you get, and that's it. But you know what, I have really no problem with that because I think it's just enough airflow. And later on, I'm sure they're going to be making a demon cap for this thing. If you want more airflow, you can get that, or the Gremlin version of the 24. I'm sure they'll be making those as well. You can get less airflow, or more restricted airflow, I should say. So there you go, there's the bottom with the Kennedy engraving, Kennedy 24. Now this is not the Kennedy V3 or anything like that. This is the Kennedy 24, and I want to stress that because people sometimes get confused, especially with the competition Kennedy and whatnot. Like, they call that the version 2. It's not known as the version 2. It's actually the Kennedy comp. So this is the Kennedy 24, and there's also now the Kennedy 22 as well. So there's my serial number, 0236. Fairly low. I'm pretty happy with that. Let's go ahead and take off the top cap. As you can see, there's the inside of the top cap with a slight chamfer on it there. A decently wide tip. I mean, that's pretty much like a Mutation X V4, maybe a little even bit wider than that. Definitely enough room in there to build some crazier builds on, stuff like that, if you want to do like stacked dual coils or stacked quad coils or something like that. Plenty of room in there, but also just reduced enough of a chamber to get decent flavor as well. So there it is. There's the top-down view of the 4 air holes and 3 post screws. Copper center post, just like the previous version. Dual O-rings on the bottom here, which definitely provide plenty of leak coverage, as you saw in that previous clip of Steve doing a little demo there at ECC. I like how they centered the air holes, so you can, when you center your coils, that's when you're going to have your airflow right over, or your coils right over your airflow. So you got to make sure you center those coils as best as you can. And I think this would be even better for like quad coils and stuff like that. If you wanted to do, 2 coils per side there, I definitely think you could do that with plenty enough room for wicking material. I mean, you could see the holes here and here. That's plenty of room for lots of wicking material. And I've had up to, I think, the biggest build I've had in here is like 11 or 12 spins, and that provided plenty of room in there. So let's just briefly take a look with the splatter cap on it. There you go. And that's the half moon drip tip as well. So that's not a standard drip tip. That is a aftermarket drip tip for the Kennedy comp. You can't really see it. Hopefully with the light you can kind of get a glimpse of the Kennedy logo engraved on there. This is just a normal 24mm stock stainless steel top cap, but they Cerakoted it and did a little fun splatter paint on there as well. But with the overall look of this thing, I mean, show you a little close-up of it on top of the Tugboat V2. Let's just back off the camera a little. So this is it on the Tugboat V2. A little more. And they use the same exact Cerakoting shop, which is great because it just leads to this flawless kind of look to it. Really no difference in paint quality or anything like that, considering it's painted at the same place. That is to be expected. So there you go. And real quick, I also want to give a comparison to the other splatter caps that I have by Flawless. This is a standard Tugboat V2 cap with the same splatter scheme. I mean, there's really no difference in my book. And finally, the cap that came with this mod, the Tugboat cap. And again, you really cannot see any difference there as well. So let's go back to the main screen, have a quick vape, and talk about some pros and cons. Alright guys, so that was the close-up section of the video. Let's move on to some of my personal thoughts on this device, some pros, some cons, and whether or not I'd purchase it. So first of all, some personal thoughts on this device. I absolutely love it. I love it, I love it, I love it. I really can't brag how much this thing is awesome. I just can't. I can't stop. You know, everyone loves this thing. I've gotten so many compliments on it. Even when I was at ECC, when I picked it up, people were complimenting on it. You know, even when I had it in the little vape sock that came with the Tugboat V2, people were asking if it was a Kennedy 24 on top, and I was like, yeah. And they just blown away by how sweet this looks. So honestly, I'm going to try to keep this as short as possible. But anyways, some pros on this device. It has updated airflow. I love the updated, unique design. Again, Kennedy outdoing themselves once again. And it does not leak on a hybrid mod, which is great considering if you have juice that gets underneath the deck at all, it could lead to some juice getting into the battery compartment, which is kind of dangerous as well. So that does not happen with this. I will tell you right now, this the top of my mod is bone dry. I can fill the juice well all the way up and rest it on its side, and it does not leak. So there you go. Another pro is going to be the splatter caps. I love the splatter caps. They look amazing on the Tugboat V2 and probably a box mod as well. I mean, throw this on my IPv3 Li or something like that and it's going to look gorgeous too. So for the future, make sure you pick up a splatter cap once they're available. Again, I don't see them on the Kennedy website yet, but definitely check out KennedyVapor.com and also the Flawless website. I'm sure they will probably be distributing from there as well. So just check back on that later. I'll make sure to leave an annotation on the video once I know they're available. Another pro is going to be the price. I know it's a little bit steep. It's $105, but I think that's very fair for what this device is. I think everything about this screams quality, and there's no difference in price whether you get it in stainless steel, brass, or copper. Again, the copper's not quite available at this time that this video came out, but I know they're working very diligently to get those in your hands. And one thing real quick, it's not necessarily a pro or a con, but I do want to mention the fact that they also come in a 22mm variant as well. So if you only have the older 22mm mods or anything like that, you can get a 22mm version just like this with a side airflow. So if you're using a Manhattan V2 or a Rig V2 or something like that, you can still get a newer updated Kennedy airflow system, and you can also purchase the decks separately, which is going to be huge. I believe they're available for $65 online if you already have a slew of caps. So they still work with the Demon cap, the Dragon cap, and the Gremlin cap as well. So you can just pick up the deck or a full new atomizer, and you get the upgraded airflow system. So moving on to some cons, I really can't stress enough how great this thing is, so I only have a couple of cons. I'm not the biggest fan of the 3-post design, and this still has that 3-post 2 negatives on the outside and 1 center pin for putting your wire through. I really think this thing could definitely benefit from a 4-post design. Hopefully Steve is working hard on something that has a 4-post, because I think that if something like this had a 4-post design, it would be the perfect atomizer, in my book at least. Not sure about you guys. Leave your comments below. Let me know what you think there. Also, my only other gripe is the copper center post. Once again, it is not like the strongest material. It is stronger than, normal copper or cheap copper that you see from like some of the Chinese atomizers or clones or something like that. This is definitely not the cheapest copper. This is a copper alloy blend, from what I understand. That's what beryllium copper is. So it's not the weakest copper in the world, but it just still worries me that if I put 2 strands of 20 gauge or something like that through these holes and try to tighten that screw down, it's just going to strip right out. But those two are my only gripes about this device. Other than that, I think this is one of the most perfect atomizers I've ever used in my life. So make sure you go to kennedyvapor.com and pick yourself up one of these things today. So moving on to whether or not I would purchase this device if I did not receive it for free for the purpose of review. And long story short, I had to purchase this for my own purposes. I was offered it at ECC. I think they almost sold out, or they sold out the first day of ECC. So I wanted to make sure I had one of these things for review, so I had to purchase one. I didn't pay full retail price for it, which kind of made me feel a little bit better, but I would do so in a heartbeat if I had to. If I had to pay full retail, I would have no issues paying $105 for this thing. It is absolutely gorgeous, and it fits perfectly on this Tugboat V2. There's no better companion, in my opinion, at least. As far as the splatter cap, yeah, I paid for this too. Not retail price, but again, I would pay whatever it costs in order to get this same look right here. I mean, I just love this thing. This thing is like my new baby. I'm a huge Rig mod fan myself, and I love the Roughneck atomizer, and I love everything that Rig's producing. But as far as this is concerned, this is definitely my go-to as far as what I use for cloud chasing and also flavor as well right now. Until the Roughneck V2 comes out, we'll have more on that later. Hopefully I'll get my hands on one for a future review. But that about does it for this, guys. So make sure you leave your comments in the box below about what you think of the 24mm Kennedy, as well as whether or not you want one of these things. I know I would purchase like a dozen more given the opportunity. But anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to hit that like button if you liked the video, and subscribe for more content. Check out www.spinfuel.com for lots more of my videos, as well as Smoke and Joey and Spin Fuel videos. And as always, vape on.